Hello and welcome to episode 550 of the Movie Bros podcast. We are your hosts, as always, for the last, 50 episodes, Duncan and Hayden. I'm Duncan, he's Hayden. Hello, hello.
Welcome back, everybody. We're closing in on that big 52 episodes, one whole year, give or
And
take.
if you are new, this is a weekly podcast. Again, we do this for every episode, so if you're not new and this is kind of a review, that's fine too, whatever.
I figured lots of people just hit the fast forward button through this.
That's fine. Yeah, 2.5 or 3.0 speed. Yeah. Either way, so this is a weekly podcast where two brothers pick a movie, watch that movie, discuss, ramble, banter, rant, argue, all the things you can do about a movie. We do that. All the movies you can possibly think of, we talk about them. So all genres, if you look back over the last, 50 episodes, obviously there are better quality ones than others and better movies and worse movies and things like that. But so there's lots of variety out there for you to listen to. And if you are curious on how to get in touch or make suggestions or anything like that, obviously this podcast has a comment section on Spotify, if that's how you listen to it. It is on YouTube where there's comments. It is on Instagram at @themovie_bros. And again, if I did it correctly, I still don't think I did it correctly, but it should be on Apple and Amazon if that's how you listen to podcasts. Aiden, what are we watching/talking about this week?
Well, this week we are talking about the romantic comedy companion, kind of. This was released this year, 2025. I think it came out the same month as Valentine's Day because I remember there being lots of clever advertisements for it. This is written and directed by Drew Hancock, and I looked and I looked to see what else he had done. He directed a bunch of music videos and like shorts for MTV and things. So pretty much nothing. This is, I think, his directorial debut. There isn't any like noticeable composed music for this. There is some incidental stuff, but a lot of it is just romance songs and other things used in the background. Cinematography here is by Eli Bourne. This stars Sophie Thatcher, Jack Quaid, Lucas Gage, Megan Suri, and Rupert Friend. It's a very small, tight cast, but you kind of don't need more than those people. Where would you like to start, Duncan? Did we do ratings last time at the end or at the beginning?
I think we did it at the end. We can start with ratings.
Well, I was going to suggest that because I think this is one of the movies where we are actually going to have to put like a spoiler warning before we get into
because it's
some
so
of the plot.
recent.
Well, that, and also, as I'll probably repeat later, so much of this movie's effectiveness depends upon you knowing as little about it as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that, but okay. So yes, spoiler, folks. If you're listening and you haven't seen this and you want to see this, obviously don't.
Pretty much after we say our ratings, we're going to spoil aspects of the movie.
And what do you rate it, Hayden? Out of 5, including half stars.
This is like a 4.5 out of 5 for me. I really enjoyed it. Let me quantify that because even to my ears, I know that sounds high, but I really enjoyed this. I think this is a short, sweet, and simple on the face plot. I don't think it tries to do a whole lot of like deep existential things with its plot, but I think for what it's trying to do, I think it does it very, very well. So I can't really think of a place where I could like overly complain about what it's done. So it's a 4.5 out of 5 for me.
Okay, all right. I mean, granted, mine is not like super polar opposite. It's not like, oh, it's a half star, but I don't know. Granted,
I'm assuming you're going to go like a 3.5, something like that.
Yeah, pretty much right. Three, somewhere between 3 to 3.5. Like it was not bad, but like it felt. Maybe it was because it's his directorial debut. I don't know. It felt like it was lacking like energy to it. It felt like they're like.
What?
It felt like it needed more pace, and even that. I'm saying, hold on.
Okay.
I listen to you. It's all good.
I know.
Even though it is short and like the plot moves along, I don't know if it was like they didn't like maybe it was there wasn't a ton of music to like give emotion to a lot of things. I don't know. It just and there were some interesting bits, but like even you said, like it doesn't set out to do a whole lot, which is fine. But there were I feel like there were clear opportunities where it could have done a lot more with like the idea, like the subject matter.
So
It
okay,
was
so in
fun, but I don't. It wasn't like wow or like
well, I'm not saying that I
I
think
was
it's
never
like,
like
"Oh,
it was not
wow," but,
riveting.
like, I don't know, I thought parts of it were very, very interesting. I would say that I wouldn't come away from this being like, "Oh, wow, I gotta recommend everyone go watch this," but
See,
I
that's
couldn't
a 4.5 though, Hayden. You would probably
let
recommend
me
people a 4.5.
finish, brother.
Okay,
But
all right.
I couldn't find any major reasons to, like, complain about it. Like, it was fun. I think the elements it's explored were inventive. I was satisfied with what it did. On
I'm
the
not
flip
saying I
side with
wasn't.
that, though,
Yes.
so for you, you said it was a 3.5 out of 5.
Hmm.
What, in your opinion, would you want it to do specifically to boost it up that it didn't do?
So even if you know nothing about this movie, which I think even from the I mean, I want to say it's kind of obvious from even just a poster or anything. Like, and also they did a shit ton of marketing for this, for how small the movie
I
it is.
I will say they put out a trailer that showed way too much, so even I knew what was going on when I sat down to watch this, but you
Hold on,
should go in to watch this with as little knowledge as
sure,
possible.
but I feel like they should have buried the lead of her. Like they were so heavy-handed within like 3 minutes. Like, hey robot, she's a robot. Hey, by the way, she's a robot.
No,
Like
that took a
without
long time.
what? Oh, I thought that was so quick. Like the only time where I was like, "Oh shit, they actually like buried this and did this well," was when Patrick turned out to be a robot. I was like, "Oh fuck, that actually I
So
think worked really well."
I I think both of them worked pretty well. I just think that it they weren't like waving it in your face immediately, especially if you didn't know it was going to happen. Her coming back up after knifing Sergey, that would be a surprise.
I mean, her playing
I
with a knife and then her attacking her, and then her before him basically saying, "Oh, I would do whatever I need to get in order to like be around you." I don't know, like
Sure, but
I
that
mean,
could just be
also
someone, like, super
segue.
obsessed with somebody.
Sure. Segue. Rupert Friend.
Friend, I believe?
He's. I mean, I don't know if he's been in a couple of Wes Anderson movies
Yep.
recently, but like this was like
He's
I had no idea he was in this, and like randomly, like, oh hello, here's a Russian guy.
I did the I mean, granted, it becomes a plot point later of why
Yes.
he's part of their friend group, but, like, I did think it was weird, when we first meet him, it's like, "Okay, this looks like your normal A24 friend group of
Mm-hmm.
ethnically ambiguous 30-year-olds, and then also we have a 50-year-old Russian man."
Yeah. Again, it obviously makes sense based off the story, but yeah, it. See, I think that was maybe another reason why I was like, okay, I kind of honestly I know what I'm getting, but like all the like no one's the jock. They're all the like the anti like the I don't know how to explain it. Like the other guy, like the sidekicks or whatever, however you want to word it.
I'm not sure what you're getting at.
Never mind. Never mind.
Well, no, I mean,
No, just
I don't understand what you're saying with that.
I'm saying like there was so especially for it I would not call this a romantic comedy. I would call this a
I was
like
kind of joking,
well no, I know
obviously.
I'm just in case people are listening and they don't know what this is, I would say it's much more like
This is a thriller.
comedy horror thriller, but like funny horror, like not horror
Well,
horror.
well, I mean, I was gonna get to it later, but something that I wrote down that I enjoyed is that this blends a lot of different things. There is romance in here, there is horror in here, there's science fiction going on. I like that it is a blend of lots of different genres.
Sure. I just I'm glancing at my notes, but the main guy Jack Quaid. Granted, he is a young actor. He is still obviously got much through probably a lot of nepotism, which I'm pretty sure he's literally been like, yeah, I'm a nepo baby.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
he talks about it all the time in interviews and stuff.
well, it'd be hard to get around Meg Ryan and Dennis Quaid. Come on.
Yeah.
either way, granted, I'm sure he will have many roles in front of him, but like if you've ever seen him in anything else, this is his character.
I was
This
gonna
is
say
like
that he is
always
a
plays the guy from The
yes.
Boys.
Well, I would say he's not exactly Huey in this. I think
No,
Huey's
but
a little bit
like
more like off the
asshole,
bat angry. He definitely progresses as the movie's villain,
asshole. Yes.
but like he plays just a jokey everyman very well. So he is a little bit typecast there. Yes.
The so I'm trying to talk positives. The uplink process, both like the first time and like how they and like the reset where he's working through all the settings.
Yep.
Uh, that's cool. That's kind of an interesting concept and cool thing to do. And then when they come back to it later on with switching who's in love with who and like the voice commands and stuff, like that's cool. I like that.
Hmm.
At some point you are more or less rooting for her, which I didn't think I'd be really
I
be.
mean, pretty early on, I would
Well,
think.
no, but like maybe that is something where it subverted my expectations, where I didn't think I'd be uh, rooting for the, at least from trailers and everything else, like the psychopathic fuckbot as they called her.
Well, I do think that is interesting that in the trailers it is portrayed as, oh, it's a companion robot gone rogue and she's stabbing
Yeah,
people,
that's just
and
not
that
it.
is definitely not what this movie is. And if anything, that's like if Josh's character, cut the trailer.
It was
I do
interesting.
think it's
Oh, go
sorry, go
ahead.
right ahead.
No, no, you're good.
Well, I was going to say that it is interesting that you can see that there is a weirdness with their character dynamic pretty early on, even if like even if you don't know what's going on and we haven't even gotten to Sergey getting knifed, the way that they walk up to the like remote cabin thing, you can see that she's lugging all of these huge like luggages and boxes and stuff, and he's carrying this tiny little bag. So it's just I thought that that was a nice subtle nod to even before he uses her as like a murder weapon essentially, he's still not viewing her as human.
Well, that was literally what I was about to say. Like, uh, he's viewing her as like ownership, which if you know anything about relationships, it's not a good vibe.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
Versus, well, that's what's interesting because how it works out in the end is Patrick and Eli, whereas he's still a robot, but they actually have like an actual healthy relationship.
I did like that contrast, yes.
Yeah, which was that was nice. That was nice. I will say, like once I checked the clock at right around an hour is where like everything's been set up. You know exactly who the players are. You know, like it's more or less them versus her. She's trying to survive. They're trying to kill her for the money and all that kind of stuff. But that's where it pretty much consisting was like, okay, go, go, go. This is what I was looking for the whole time. And yes, I know you're gonna have to have some build up
S-
to that.
So
And
in your opinion, you think it took too long for the setup?
me, I think that's it. But like,
See, because
it took.
I was about to say that I like that this just jumps right in and that there's literally like 10 seconds of opening credits and then it just jumps right into the plot.
I think maybe I don't know. That's just how I. Granted, we will reference this next week, but this is nothing compared to Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning. So I guess I can't complain too much. The corkscrew at the very end, that was
That was
a nice
nice.
touch. At first, I was like, man, are they really going to subvert my expectations? And she finds out that he is also a robot.
I thought they were going to do that. I'm like,
That
oh,
would have
that'd be
seen
really
that would
fucking
have been
clever.
really good. That would have been really clever.
I think that would be too many ethical complications, though, because something that this movie doesn't do, and I feel like it maybe could have, but I may have slowed it down more, is that they could have dived into more like, oh, does human morality and robot morality, is that the same? Is murder, is
Well, see,
this and
that
all
almost
that?
feels ex machina.
Well, right, and I'm glad that this didn't do that because I personally did like the pace of this quite a bit, and I think that having more sit down conversations and things like that would have hurt it.
I'm not saying I want it to be a slow sitting and talking movie, but like I don't know if the something I can't. Maybe granted, I literally stopped watching this like 20 minutes before we recorded. Maybe I just need time to think about it more. But something
Oh,
was
did
not
you?
correct.
You literally just finished it.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I do like that this has two incidences of Chekhov's gun. One is literally a gun, which is a writing uh not trope, but it's a rule of like writing tension is that if you show a weapon or an obvious plot device in the first act of your story, if you don't use it by the third act, people will be disappointed. So I like that this literally has a gun that is owned by a Russian guy. Like it's blatantly being the Chekhov's gun, and the word Chekhov is referencing the Russian writer Anton Chekhov, who wrote a book called The Duel, which is what it's referencing. But then the second one, which wasn't obvious until they do it at the very end, was the cork unscrewing thing. Like you see them doing that several times throughout the night with actual wine, and then she picks it up off the table in the last second and uses it. I thought that was really clever.
Oh, see, I did not even notice it throughout the movie. I only saw it at the end. Didn't even see
Yeah,
him do it.
yeah.
Hmm. Okay. Basic side note. I mean, I don't know how much of this we can say. Keep it. I mean, no, we can mark it explicit, but like
I mean,
the
she's a sex bot. We have to.
yeah, literally just the hit, just cutting to him just
Oh
nutting.
boy,
Like
I hated that.
Jesus.
I get that we're supposed to hate it, but it's just like Jesus, man, really.
Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
I did have the thought that I was kind of impressed with the amount of restraint they showed with that, just because
sure,
I
they could have
think,
done a lot more.
well, right, like if this was a different toned movie, you would definitely just have a bunch of gratuitous sex scenes that we don't need. I think that it was smart to have barely two and like flashbacks that last longer than maybe 3 seconds.
I will say I don't know if I love like voiceover narration can be really hit or miss for me.
I didn't really care for that. That's kind of why I
Yeah.
knocked it down a little bit
And like
because
and literally in the first like 30 seconds being like, "Oh hey, by the way, he's going to die in the end." And
that's a
that
big one
come
for
on.
me.
That was like there goes like the whole okay. And if you kill him
Well,
in the end, that means you're most likely like she's gonna make it for the most part.
exactly. And that's what I didn't like about either. And also something I didn't like, they play that line in the trailer.
Oh,
Like
really?
yes, that's
Wow.
a really bad decision.
That's just not a good choice.
And then
But
the reason why
but
I
still
don't
four and a
like
half out of five.
those are minor complaints to me. I really
Okay,
enjoyed how,
all right.
at least in my opinion, I think the plot was really inventive and was able to do some fairly interesting twists while staying primarily grounded in the same like location. And while this doesn't take place like in real time, I like that it is essentially one bad day that spirals out of control worse and worse and worse. That's a trope that I like a lot.
That's fair. It's definitely not the same genre, and I don't have the same feeling towards it, but it does feel at least I don't know if it's like just the general vibes or if it's like the production quality or if I don't know, but like it kind of made me think of Palm Springs from like 2020 or whatever.
Oh,
But it's like
yeah,
it's
I'm not seeing that at
I
all.
again I have no idea what is making me think of it, but like yeah, I don't know. Also, that movie is fantastic.
Palm Springs is very good. Highly recommend it.
Anything
Which we may
else?
do it for an episode later. Who knows?
Yeah, we could. I would. I love that. I could talk about that movie.
Well, I feel like I've talked glowingly for a little bit. I don't want to continue to hog all the airspace here. Duncan, why don't you read off some more of your notes?
I mean, I didn't have a ton. Let me look. Let's see. Okay, maybe again. I think this is just such a small thing, but like, was there something weird with her tooth? I could not look at it.
So
Do you know what I'm talking about?
so when she smiles, part of her cupid's bow is not 100% centered, so it makes it look like part of her lips are sticking to her teeth.
Yeah, it's and I couldn't tell if that was oh they did this for her character or oh this is just the actress. And I'm not trying to make that in like a mean or like super judgy way. Just it was just something that I couldn't not look at. you know?
I think that's just Sophie Thatcher. From what I've seen of, Heretic, which she also shows up in, she has the same kinda thing there, so I think that's just her face.
Okay, well, that's something that I noticed. Otherwise, that's kinda all. Again, I don't have a ton to say about this 'cause, I'm still maybe still, like, processing it.
So I don't have a whole lot of things left. I have, like, 2 or 3 things here. I like this small attention to detail that when, the gay couple are searching for her in the woods, and I'm only saying gay couple because I can't remember their names now. It's not like a derogatory thing.
Eli and Patrick.
Eli and Patrick. When Eli and Patrick are searching for her in the woods, and Eli tries to shoot at her with the gun, he both jerks his hand up and then immediately covers his ears because, of course, that thing's freaking huge. And I like that it's not the, like something that you'd see in like The Last of Us or a John Wick movie where there's no recoil and apparently guns don't make any noise. I like that it was a nice attention to detail that yes, this person has clearly never actually shot anything before. I like that this was, as far as movie making goes, fairly cheap. This was only made for about 10 million, which means it definitely made its money back. So, well, I don't think we'll ever see like a sequel. I'm sure that we'll see more movies from this director. And then I guess the last couple things I have down here is that the scene where she gets pulled over by the cop and she's speaking in German the entire time. That's really funny. I thought that was a great bit. There's a very cool shot, no pun intended, where Jack Quaid has Iris shoot herself through the temple because he thinks that's where her like main computer is, and they slow down the shot when she does that, and you can it's got to be a mix of like practical and CG touch-ups where you can see like the warm bullet pass through her skull and behind her eyes, and like they kind of light up very briefly when it does that. It's a really cool effect. It was very neat. Um, and I think in general, while this doesn't have a ton of effects, they're all pretty decent and look natural. Like the UI interface on his cell phone looks pretty believable. I think the part where she's holding her hand out over the candle, where it's melting like the wax skin off her hand, looks pretty believable. It was some nice prosthetic work on this. And then I guess a question I would have for Duncan is, do you think this would make a good date movie? Because I remember they released this around around Valentine's Day, and they had run some Valentine's Day themed like social media stuff for it, which I'll probably end up sharing on the Instagram. But do you think you would bring a date to this?
Mm, okay, if I didn't know what it was and I was doing strictly off marketing and everything, like, yeah, sure, I'd go to that. But if I've seen the movie, I don't think it's a very positive romantic movie if that's your end goal.
I mean, yeah, I suppose so.
And I guess my follow-up question is, does it bucket?
Does it bucket? And this is something we started talking about last week. Essentially, there's a popcorn bucket craze, if you will, where they will where studios will pick out a certain bit of iconography from whatever movie it is and say, okay, we're gonna make a humorous popcorn bucket that you can buy. I think for the new Fantastic Four movie, you can buy one that looks like Galactus's head. Does
Yeah, I
this
mean, they
movie have a
all
bucket
the
though?
major movies now I feel like have that is like the in thing. Obviously, I feel like it's going to live and die at some point, but at least for
Sure,
now.
sure. See, I don't think this movie has enough MacGuffin-ness in it. Like, there's not like a
Enough things?
thing. I mean,
No,
I mean,
there's
I guess if you want to be pedantic about it, yes, Iris is a thing, but I don't know that you can make a popcorn bucket out of a entire woman. I think that would be awkward.
and even if you did like her head or open mouth or something, I think
It'd be uncomfortable and weird.
yeah, I don't I think does it bucket is literally a question. It's a yes or no, and it might be a yes because I feel like there's a lot of movies you could find something for, which will
Okay,
in the
I
coming
I I
movie
feel
weeks.
like
But I think it's a no.
I feel like it's a yes, but you make the bucket look like a box of chocolates or
What?
like like a small bouquet because it
No.
because
No.
because at the time when they were releasing this, it was being released around Valentine's Day. I think that makes sense.
See, but at the same time, around Valentine's Day, Love Hurts was being released.
Was it?
Yes, it was literally released like on Valentine's Day.
See, I don't even remember that.
It looked like really bad fun with Marshawn Lynch and the guy from Indiana Jones 2. Either way,
Indiana
it
Jones
came out.
2.
Yeah, the kid who was in Everything Everywhere All at
Oh,
Once.
yeah, that guy.
I don't remember his name, but I feel like that. Sure, you would get a bouquet of roses or something on the inside as popcorn or whatever. But like,
I guess
I
that
don't.
makes more sense. I was just trying to, grasping at straws, if you will.
Yes, I get it. All right, so that was Companion,
And it does not bucket.
and it does not bucket. You can find this on HBO Max if you want to watch it.
And we're going to segue into a section we call Icebreaker Audio. We're going to each week one of us has a question for the other to help you guys get to know us more as real human beings and less as disembodied voices in your ears. These are be things you might hear at a new job, you're starting a new school, something like that. So this week, Duncan, is my turn. And if you had to be a famous person's personal assistant, like, they're you're running and getting them coffee and things like that, who would you choose and why? Doesn't have to be movie related, any
Sure,
famous
no,
person.
I get it. Well, gosh, that's a hard question. Let me think about it. What do you have an answer while I think?
Um,
Because that's a tough question.
it is a tough question. I think I have two. I think I would like to be the personal assistant for Wes Anderson,
I thought
just
that was my
because
original thought.
those sets seem so ridiculous and wacky,
Yeah, but
and that
think about how specific he's going to be with all of his
I
requests.
mean,
He's
that's
going
the
to
only
have a
reason why I
lot of
might choose someone else. He seems really, really overly particular. I
yes,
mean,
exactly.
even during interviews, he comes across that way. But I don't know. I feel like that would be wacky and unique and fun. But if I didn't want to be with someone like that idiosyncratic, maybe Taylor Swift.
That
And
sounds exhausting.
I think it might be exhausting, but I think on my end, all of the like behind the scenes things I would see, all of the concerts I might get dragged to. Like, yes, I would probably probably be worked like a slave, but I think it would be worth it for the life experience I would get out of it.
I would be like Steve Carell or like Paul Rudd or like the guy from New Girl, Jake Johnson. Just like
Steve
it would be
Carell and Jake Johnson I could see because they don't work constantly. Paul Rudd is freaking in everything. I
well,
think
yeah,
you would
but like
be
it would be exciting and fun, but like at least your guy is not. I feel like he wouldn't be crazy demanding, and they generally seem like nice people.
That's true. I guess I would say I would also under that same like umbrella. I wouldn't mind being the the PA for Nick Offerman. He also seems like a very chill, normal guy who happens
Yeah,
to be in Parks and Rec and stuff.
we will talk about it, but he is in Mission Impossible, and
No.
I did not know that, and it's well, no,
Okay, well we don't have to talk about it yet because we're
that's
gonna talk
all.
about that
Yep,
later in like
yep,
an actual episode.
yep. So just know that he is in a Mission Impossible. Nick Offerman is in a
I
Mission
mean,
Impossible movie.
he played a comedic like government official. Maybe he's playing a serious one. I could see it, I guess.
And that is Icebreaker Audio, folks. So yeah, that's who we would be personal assistants to. And from there, usually we segue into a kind of a segment or chapter, you might want to call it, about what we watched either recently or what we are looking forward to watching in the near future. And then towards the end of that is where we'll talk about what we're going to watch next week for the next episode. So, Hayden, what did you either watch recently, looking forward to watch, anything like that?
This might be nothing for me because I've literally not. I've rewatched some stuff, but I never want to fill this section up with things that I've already seen.
Well, that's Hayden. I've rewatched this. What have you seen?
Okay, that's fine. Um, I rewatched the first two Conjuring movies because They're putting out the final chapter here, coming out later in August, I believe. I really, really, really love that series, so I own physical copies of them, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, kind of in like preparation, I guess. I rewatched the first two. I would like to own all four of them eventually, but I only own the first two so far.
Is that the same guy that also does Insidious, who is also an Aquaman?
James Wan.
No. The actor,
Oh, Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson.
Um,
I feel like that's a
yes.
typecast. Jesus, dude.
Well, he likes. I mean, I say James Wan. He likes working with that director, so
I
he shows
guess.
up in a lot of his stuff. And I think that, I mean, Aquaman excluded, I think he also plays a fairly convincing everyman.
I mean, we did talk about how he was just lame as fuck in Bone Tomahawk,
Well, Bone
and
Tomahawk was kind of lame as fuck all over the
it
place.
was kind
So,
of sad, yeah, as a movie,
because as a concept, that really should have been so much better.
right? Uh, if you want to listen back to that episode, folks, I want to say that was probably in the 20s, like episode 20
Oh,
something.
yeah, this was like
It
nearly
was a
half a
while
year
ago.
ago.
But I also just caught what's his name? The guy?
Patrick Wilson.
Patrick Wilson on TV at work in The A Team with Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper
I haven't
as the
seen that in
bad
probably
guy.
15 years.
It's not a good movie, dude. It's like
I mean,
it is
that was the
such
era of the Transformers movies when
yes, it
everything was
is.
kind of trying to be them.
It really feels like, oh, this is a 20 like a 2010 action movie. It really feels, and like
Yes.
Jessica Biel, who doesn't really act anymore,
She's
the
really
guy from
hot
District
though.
9. She's there are good movies with her in it and not good movies with her in it. I don't know. She had this like really hardcore pulled back ponytail. It just didn't wasn't a good look.
That's sometimes not a good look.
Sometimes. Either way, I digress. Um, okay, sorry. That's so you watched a bunch of Conjuring movies. Got it.
Yep. And then this. So,
Okay.
yep. And then something I'm looking forward to. I think I actually sent you a quick message about this, but there's a uh, Western black comedy called Heads or Tails being made, which has John C. Riley in it as Buffalo Bill, where he's tracking someone through the mountains, and
Sounds interesting. Yeah, looking at the
yeah,
picture and everything, like I would say I'm more or less
I
interested in that.
yeah, I
And
like John
like I
C.
feel
Riley.
like
I like westerns. Why not?
compared to Will Ferrell, because they're both of the same like age, like John C.
Well,
Riley
and
has
also they
done
appeared in so much of the same stuff.
yeah, but like I feel like John C. Riley has done so much more than just like those kinds of movies with like he has I feel like at least branched out to do other
Oh yeah, I mean,
things.
so I read an interview with him like years and years ago where he was talking about being cast in things like Chicago and how he originally wanted to be a like a dramatic a dramatic actor, but found out he had just such a natural gift for riffing comedically that he just got put into a bunch of those movies, and so he's trying to kind of break free from that now.
Makes sense. Okay.
Well,
Well,
what have you watched? What are you looking forward to?
I want so as of well when we talked where the last thing was Jurassic Park, and then I started and then stopped a stand-up comedy special by Chris Stefano. I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a stand-up comic. I've I like him a lot in several different podcasts that he does, but I don't know,
I
his
would probably
stand-up is not.
recognize his face,
You
but I don't know
probably
his
would,
name.
but like I don't know. Actually, I thought the stand-up was not that funny, but I like his podcast, so I turned that off. From there, I watched a movie that our dad recommended to me. I had never heard of it. The concept was
That might not be good.
oh no, it was okay. So I think we were. I don't remember how we even got onto the topic, but I think we were talking about The Great Escape, the one with Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, if you are wanting to rewatch that, you should watch this. This is called The Hill. This is from 1965. This is
Is
Sean
it a war
Connery.
movie?
Sorry.
Is it a war movie?
Sort of.
Sorry,
It's
I will let you explain.
it is set during World War II, but it's in I think it's in North Africa. So basically, it is I think it's Australian or British like internment camp for traitors or like runaways or like people in the army. So either way, it's basically like a concentration camp for all the people who fucked up in the army, and of course the main guy being Sean Connery. And they build a hill, like a massive hill in the middle of this compound that they force men to basically hike up and down all day long, carrying like full packs with them
Huh.
beating the shit out of them. Like, dude, the whole movie, it like
Sounds pleasant.
no, it was really good. I will say, and like Sean Connery is like you can clearly tell. Oh, this guy has got like the career, like the natural like he's the guy vibes.
Sure.
But like even by the end, you're like, men are just fucked. It's kind of hard to explain without you watching it, but like,
Okay.
like things do not turn out well for literally anyone, even the people who you end up rooting for, because they like give in to like their nature of being imperfect people. If you want to watch it, because again, it was really good. I think I watched it on Tubi. That's where I'm finding all
Mm.
these weird miscellaneous like stuff that I can't really find anywhere else. From there, I watched Mission Impossible, which I referenced earlier, but again, I don't want to say really too much because we'll talk about that next week. Spoiler alert. Um, but yeah, I watched all 3 hours or so of that, and yeah, and then just this today, Companion, and that's it.
Okay.
I
Well,
don't know if there's anything like new that's coming out that we haven't talked about that I'm looking forward to.
I mean, I so we mentioned a bit off air, but it is a little bit of a dismal landscape of just Superman and Fantastic Four.
Well, it's just
And
this is like the summer blockbuster time of year.
yes,
And I mean, that's okay because again, in a month or two, we're going to be talking about something entirely different.
that's true. That's true. So I think both of us are apprehensive, to say the least, about Superman.
I think again, it could be good. It could
It could
also
be
be
good, but I'm
shit.
gonna wait. I I think it hinges entirely upon can can James Gunn break his own mold and make a solo movie, because so much of his other successes have been essentially all the same.
They're all ensembles, yes. And again, this does have an ensemble cast, but it is a Superman movie.
So I want it to be good, but I'm gonna wait. And then I'm still looking forward to Fantastic Four. There are some changes to canon that I'm not super happy about, but looking forward to some of it. So I guess we'll have to wait and see.
And F1, I know because we talk about this
F1 as
literally every
well.
week. I
We
think
do, yes.
we are T minus like 20 days, so just over 2 weeks or so. I think it's at the end of this month. So
Once it
obviously
comes
looking.
out, we're gonna have to think of a new segment to fill each podcast where we don't mention F1.
I've thought about that, dude. There's got to be some next thing. I don't think I mean, I know it was released today and I haven't seen it, and I don't really give a shit. But Wicked 2 is
I
coming.
don't give two fucks.
I didn't see
I
the
know
first
that
one.
people are like super fans of it. I'm glad y'all are happy. I don't care.
Ditto.
Yeah, it's so not my thing.
And again, that's okay. It doesn't have to be everyone's thing.
Although, speaking tangentially of musicals, did I ever tell you I went and I saw the CGI abomination Cats?
Yes, I think we talked about this at some point. Yes.
I've been meaning to rewatch it in a way, because I've been listening to some of the music from it on Spotify, and like, nightmare visuals aside, it has really great renditions of the broadcast, or of the Broadway songs. Like, I really enjoy the music from it, but maybe it's just because I haven't seen the like nightmare fuel that that movie is in so long. So maybe I'll track that down and I'll talk about it next week.
And in order to hear about that next week, folks, you're going to have to tune in. So find us again next week. This has been episode 50
And what are
of
we watching
the
next week?
Movie Bros podcast. And next week, as we have kind of sort of referenced perhaps once or twice, we will be talking about Mission Impossible 8, or if you want to call it Mission Impossible The Final Reckoning, or if you want to call it Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2. We'll talk about all of that next week. So tune in for that. Thanks for listening, and hang in there.